Hi, this tutorial is for 1.3.3 Constraining a Sketch Part 1. There's a total of 4 parts to this activity. We're going to go ahead and start off with Part 1. Go to your data panel. Once you have Fusion open, go to your data panel. Find your Unit 1 project folder that you created. Go ahead and double click on it. Then you're going to go into your design panel area. You're going to click on File. You're going to click Save. You want to title this 1.3.3 Part 1. Make sure it's saved in your Unit 1 project folder. You probably won't have the P3 afterwards, so it should be in your Unit 1 project folder. If that location is not showing, click on the drop-down arrow and find it in your projects. Okay, once you have it in the proper location, click Save. And that should have changed the name on the tab up here. We can close the data panel now. We're going to go up to the Create tab on the toolbar. Click on the Create. We want to click New Component. Over here, we're just going to accept everything as it is and click OK. Now we're going to go over to our browser. We're going to click the drop down for document settings. We want to change our units to millimeters. So I'm going to click millimeters. I'm going to click OK. So now it should say units in millimeters. Now I'm going to go up. I'm going to create a sketch. I want to choose the XZ plane. XZ. Okay, once I'm on the XZ plane, what we're going to do is we're going to create a concave polygon using only the line tool. Okay, so I'm going to go up to my toolbar on my Create tab. I'm going to click on Line. And when I create the concave polygon, I'm just going to go ahead. It's always a good idea to create your design based on the origin point. So I'm going to start over this way. Yours might look a little bit different than mine at the end, and that's okay. And I'm going to go up a little bit. And I'm just kind of putting some random lines in here to make a concave polygon. And that straight. And then back down. Now, the important thing when you make your final line, you want to come back down, you can see that circle there, they need to connect. If you do not have a blue shape like this when you're done, that means you did not connect all of the lines, which means you do not have a solid shape. Once you connect that final line and you have a blue shaded shape, right click and click OK. Now you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-sided concave polygon. Okay, the purpose for this is to kind of experiment a little bit with the constraints before you get going. So first thing I would like for you to do is just kind of click on the different constraints and see or click on your lines and see what ends up happening. Where you see these little icons, those are the constraints. If you do not see those icons, over here in your sketch palette, down near the bottom, you see something that says constraints. You need to make sure that that box is checked. If that box is not checked, it will look plain like this. So you need to make sure that's checked so that you can see your constraints. Okay, and just kind of play around and see what happens. Move the different lines around, try and get them back in the correct location afterwards. And when you're done doing that, just go ahead and click back so that you have your original shape again. Now I'm going to show you how you can remove constraints. Sometimes as we're creating a sketch, the system will automatically assign constraints. We may not want those constraints there. We may want to put something else there. So to delete a constraint, you're going to put your mouse, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we can see them, put your mouse on the constraint, like I have mine on the perpendicular constraint right now that looks like a T. I'll click on it, and then I'm going to right click and hit delete. Okay, we're going to do that to all of these. Left click, right click, and delete. Now, so that one took care of 2, and that was because they were together. Okay? It's going to happen here too. Notice when I hover over this constraint, the constraint up here also highlights. So those 2 were created together. So that ties those 2 lines together with that constraint, and that's a parallel constraint. It's basically that's saying that these lines with this parallel constraint will always be parallel. No matter what I do to one or the other, they're always going to stay parallel to each other. So I'm going to take that constraint off. So left click, hang on, click too many times. Left click, right click, delete. So now I can move this around, and there's a possibility that depending on what I do with other things, this may not stay parallel. Right now it is. We got one constraint left down here. We have our horizontal constraint. Left click, right click, delete. Okay. Now, many of the lines may start acting a little bit different now, but we have all of our constraints completed at this point. Okay. At this point, we're going to click Finish Sketch. And we're going to go up and click Extrude. We're going to go ahead and extrude this item 5 millimeters and click OK. And this is similar to what your item should look like. Again, your concave polygon may not be shaped exactly like mine, but you should have an 8-sided concave polygon that's extruded 5 millimeters at this point. So at this point, make sure we have it named and saved. So at this point, this is what you are going to upload into Canvas for 1.3.3 Part 1.